I mean, I could try to look at my nose on them. It's not gonna. Okay, that's what I was gonna show you. Okay, so today we're gonna go over the homework. Is there any questions on the first project, which is this?
Do we have to like put the work in it that we do in the project? Or do you want it separate?
I don't need the list.
Don't need it first. Second question, what's your favorite food?
My favorite life food. Patel's maybe? I don't know, that's hard to say. Project, so the project is under here, under projects, project one. Now, when you're responding, there's some good tips here, on how to respond to discussion boards. But for the project, if you do not know what your topic is yet, hopefully you know, but it's right here under large numbers. Just click on it wherever your name is. It tells you what tourist or attraction that you have. If your name is not there because you added, and I forgot to go back and check that, but I think my class was full. I don't think I'm gonna add it. But if you did, let me know and I will add you on. I think 3 people have turned it in so far. Oh, nope, there's more some class. But when you're attaching it, you just click here where it says response and then, the paperclip, you attach it. So the main post is due Sunday, and then respond to 2 people by next Wednesday. Any questions on that? So this is the homework which is due Sunday night. And every single one should have a complete sentence. Number 1. In the 2011 New York Marathon, 46,785 runners finished, as compared to 1981 Marathon, which had 13,203 finishes. What is the percent increase in runners who finished? Now, we talked about this a little bit last class. Normally, I would have just set you up early, but I was being super. But anyways, percent increase, that is also called what? From the formulas you were given yesterday. Relative increase. Now, since we want the percent, we want to multiply by what to make it a percent? So we want relative percent change. Because it finds the change between 2 values as a percent. Does anyone remember the formula?
Even number minus whole number divided by whole numbers.
Mm-hmm. And then times 100 to make it a percent. Yep. So the new value would be the newer year, which is 2011. So it'd be 46,795 minus the 13,203. And we got 200 and some percent. Is everyone getting 254? Now, if you didn't do it yet, please plug it in your calculator and make sure you're getting the right answer, because the most mistakes that happen on this type of problem is that this is correct and you plug it in wrong. So either subtract the top first and then divide, or put the top in parentheses. And then make sure you wrote it in a complete sentence. By complete sentence, I don't want, well, you have to take 46,795, subtract 3,000. I don't want the steps. You're showing me the steps already here. I want a sentence so then I wouldn't have to read the question and I know what you're talking about. So in the New York Marathon, from 1981 to 2011, the finishers increased by 254%. So something that takes the information from the question and gives me your answer. On the last homework, I had a lot of students explaining the steps in words, but I don't want that. I want to see it here and then write a sentence using the question. Any questions on that? I know most of you got this one. Any questions on it? If I go too fast, just stop me, but I think everyone had gotten this one. In a recent negotiation, the union negotiated a 1.5% raise for all staff. If a staff member's annual salary is $35,000, what is her salary after the raise takes effect? So what are some things we have to remember when we go to solve this? Or how can we solve?
Use the 1 plus trick.
1 plus trick. And when we're using the 1 plus trick, what do we have to remember about the percent? It has to be a decimal. So what is 1.5% as a decimal? So we have our starting amount, 35,000, and our 1+ trick. The trick is your percent. The reason you're using 1+ is we're adding the whole to it, so it's already adding your total. And you're not gonna get the amount of the increase and have to add it on. Now, if you found the 1.5% of this and then added it on, same thing, just an extra step, and I'm fine with that. So when we plug this in, what are we getting?
35,525.
35,525, but remember to write that as a sentence. A staff member's annual salary was 35,000. She had a 1.5% raise, which increased her salary to 35,525. So a sentence that, you could read the sentence and know what the question is. Any questions? Is that what everyone got before the meeting? Also, if there's, like, if you weren't here the first week, the homework is up there. Everything is up there. You can still do it. I don't need to give you different problems to work on. Just make sure anything that's late, please get it turned in. Any questions? Okay. I broke this one up into the parts, so we'll do part A, then B, and then I think there's 3 on this. In January 2010, National Health Expenditures reported that the overall healthcare spending in the United States rose from $7,421 per person in 2007, and in 2008 it was $7,680. Calculate the absolute change in healthcare spending per person from 2007 to 2008. How do you find absolute change? New minus old. Absolute change, just subtract. But remember, you want to take the new value minus the old value. Because if your answer is positive, which this one should be because there was an increase. If it's positive, it's an increase. If it's negative, it's a decrease. So you just subtract the more recent one, which is the 7,681, because it was in 2008, minus the other. Remember, the units stay the same. It's dollars per person. So if we subtract them, get 260. So it's $260 per person. But remember, you have to write that in a sentence. Healthcare increased from 2007 to 2009 by $260 per person. Any questions? I think one person turned this in. If you find there's a mistake that you made as we're going on, just email me it. Any questions? Everyone has their second. So this problem should have 3 sentences. A, B, and C. Same question, and that says calculate the relative percent change, which is what we had just done on one of the other problems. And again, I put percent change. I like percent when you're trying to write a sentence rather than putting a rate. The relative percent change we know is new minus old divided by old times 100 to make it the percent. So if the percent is not in there, it's just new minus old divided by old. Also notice that the numerator is absolute change. So if you had to find absolute change already, what do we have, 260? Then you can just divide it by the original or the old value. What increase are we getting?
3.5%.
Is that what everyone got? You take new minus old divided by old and times it by 100. And please double check that you're plugging this in. I can't help you the day of the exam. But 3.5%. So similar to your last sentence, you want to make sure you're talking about healthcare spendings from 2007 to 2008 increased by 3.5%. So these are problems similar to what you would see on an exam. Any questions? We're gonna write their sentence. Estimate the total amount spent on healthcare in the United States in 2007 and in 2008. Okay, we'll start with 2007. In 2007, there was $7,421 per person. How can we find out how much was spent on healthcare on everyone in the US?
Multiply it by the population of the US in 2007.
Exactly. You want to be careful because we're talking 2007 when we want to use the population from 2007. So you want to make sure you have the correct population. That's something you would have to Google. On an in-person exam, if I ask something like that, I would give you the value. You do need to know the current population, which is how much? 340 million. But this one, you do need to go online and find out the population in the United States in 2007.
1.2 million.
301.2 million. I went too far. We do need to multiply them. Because remember, this is per person. So this would be over people. This is the number of people, so people would cancel. So then it would just be total dollars. What are we getting on these? 2.2 trillion, is that what everyone's getting? Does everyone know how to plug those large numbers into the calculator? Any questions on it? Everyone's quiet, so I don't know if you got it or you don't want to say. Everyone's okay plugging it in? Yes, please. Okay. Because a million is how many zeros? 6, but this would count as one of them, so it'd be 5 zeros. Any questions on it? Everyone getting 2.2 trillion? Awesome. Okay, we have 7. Okay, we want million. So if I put 2 zeros, this is 1,000, 2 more millions. Now, when we multiply these, we don't have to include these 5 zeros. We can just put them at the end. You can multiply 7,421 times 3012. And you'll get this, and then you add those zeros on. That's 1,000, million, billion, trillion, 2.2 trillion. Or scientific notation, 2.2 times 10 to what power? 10? No, that's not. 369. But 2.2 trillion is a good one to write when you're writing a sentence. But if I didn't specify, I would take this number, I would take this number, and I would take that. Doesn't. Any questions on that? On one of the homeworks, someone put an E. When your calculator gives you, like for this number, it's gonna give you 2.2, probably some more of that, but then it's gonna put an E. That capital E is just your 10. So you don't want to put that E in there, you want to put the 10 when you're writing. Any questions on it? Oh, something's. In 2007, national healthcare expenditures were $2.2 trillion in the United States. Do the same thing for 2008. What was the population in 2008? It went up a little. 304.1. Are we getting very much more than the 2.2 trillion? But make sure you're showing your work. By showing your work, showing me this is fine. And then whatever you multiplied here. And make sure you have a sentence. Any questions on that? According to a survey conducted in spring 2006 by Northeast Department Advisor, an Acton, Massachusetts research firm, the average monthly rent in Greater Boston was $1,355, an increase of 3.6% from 2005. What is the average monthly rent in 2005? So the 1355 is after the increase. We're looking for the value before the increase. How can we solve it?
You can use the 1 point method, but instead of being a plus sign, do the subtract sign.
That will not work. Keep your answer though. Don't erase it. Because I want you to see. You can't use the 1 minus trick because you need the original value. You can use the 1 plus trick, but you have to remember that 1355 is your answer. So we have our rent from before, and if we use that should give us the current rent. This is what we're looking for. So we're looking for this. I'm going to just use an R. What is our rate as a decimal? Any? Now, what value did you get when you used the 1 minus?
1,300, like the in between section or the total?
The total, the old rent.
Okay, I got $1,306.22.
So what she used, you used 1 minus and just multiplied it over here? Is that what you did?
No, I put the current rent and then multiplied by 1 minus.
Oh, here you used the minus.
Yeah,
Okay. The reason you wouldn't want to use the minus here is because then the old rent will decrease when it was actually an increase. See what I mean? Like we're taking last year's rent and we're increasing it by
yeah,
3.6%.
I put the current rent and the old rent, I switched.
Oh, you switched.
Yeah,
So you took this times and decreased it.
yeah,
It will be close, but it's not.
I realized that, yeah.
Yeah. Simply because we're not decreasing from this. And I mean, you would think it works. But it
It's all at like
yeah.
$1.80.
So you want to set these up this way. So when you're talking about something in the future and you're looking for the past, set it up. And then what do we do with this decimal? How do we get R by itself? Mhm. And so you want to set it up. I put R on the other side of this. When you're multiplying, order doesn't matter. So the R can be on the right or the left, doesn't matter. And then you divide both sides by that. To get R by itself, we divide by the 1.036. So you'll be getting $1,307.92. So it's a little off using the other one. Simply because that increase is in here in the 1355. When you try and decrease it, it's not the same. Just like the compounding interest, that interest is in there already. The increase is in here and it doesn't work out exactly the same. And as we saw, it was about $1, maybe $2. Because this would be 1306, this would be 1308, a $2 difference. Because that increase was already in there, you can't do that. So 1307.92.
Is it acceptable on round matter, so 1308?
Yes. Unless specified, you can always run. And make sure you have a complete sentence. Did you have a question? I thought I saw here. Okay. Complete set. Monthly rent in the greater Boston area in 2005 was approximately $1,308. So something that uses the problem, in a complete set. And make sure units, this one's dollars. Any question? So you do want to be careful, it's a common mistake. I usually put one similar to this on the exam. These problems that we do in class, those are stuff you want to study for the exam. So we're kind of reviewing for the exam today, which is the Friday of the 6th week. And it's on Blackboard. The link where your syllabus is, there's another link in that same folder that has the exam dates, the project dates, and your final. So you know when we have everything already. So you can plan around it. Okay, number 5. The Boston Globe on June 30th, 2010 stated that a maximum deal for LeBron James would start at $16.56 million at the minimum and increase by 8% each season over a 5-year period. Use the 1+ trick 4 times to calculate James' salary in the 5th season. Now, we only need to do it 4 times because the first season he made the $16,560,000. So then we have to figure the next 4 seasons to get the 5th season. And we want to use the 1+ trick because we don't want to have to keep finding the increase and adding it on when there's a bunch of them. And 8% written as a decimal is what?
0.08.
So the next season then would be the 16.56 million times 1 plus 0.08 or 1.08. You get 17 million and something.
Yes.
Want to do it 3 more times to get to the 5th season. And to show your work, you can just show this and then put that answer, and then you use that answer and multiply by 1.08 to get the next season, and then use that one. This is compounded interest, because his raises are including the interest that he made from the season before. You're getting it 22.5 million for the 5th one. Now I want to see all of them. The first one you get 17 million. 17.884 million. So then you take that and multiply again by your 1+ trick and do it 3 more times to get the 5th season where he's making 22.5. Everyone give them 22.5. Make sure you write a sentence. By the 5th season, LeBron James is making approximately $22.5 million. This 8% increases if you want to put that in there. see a lot of people writing, so I just want to make sure I don't go on here. Which is fine, they still have lots. There's what, 10? I was waiting for everyone to get here. I think this. Is everyone getting 22.5 million? Any questions? In 5 seasons, James will get 4 8% increases, because we did the 1.08 4 times. Compare the result of your calculation, the 22.5 million, to a single 4 times 8% is 32% increase. So if they said in 5 years, we'll give you a 32% increase, what would he be making? So you want to take his, I think, yeah, 16.56 million and do the 1 plus trick with the 32%. What is 32% written as a decimal? 1.2. So we want to use the 1 plus trick with his first season. We're getting the 22.5 million. I mean, not that it's that far off when you're talking millions, so it's a lot. You should be getting 21.8. No, wait, no. Is everyone getting 21,859,200? I will. But if he goes with the 8% each time, even though it doesn't sound like a lot, you're making interest off of the money you're making, so each time you're getting more than that. What do we have? 22.5 million. So you want to write a sentence comparing part A and B. LeBron James's 4 8% increases each season gave him 22.5 million. If he would have only had 1 increase in the 5th year of 32%, he would only make 21.9 million.
Can you say that again?
So let's see, what could I say? LeBron James, with his 8% increases for 4 years, will have made $22.5 million in his 5th year. If he would only have a 32% increase in the 5th year, he would only make $21.9 million. $600,000 difference. Any questions?
For this one, could we write like the percentage difference? That's fine, okay, like if we solved it, meets. Right.
Oh, like you compared them with relative, yeah, that's,
Okay,
so how much, what percent was it?
35.8% is how much he makes, so he loses a 2.
Yeah, you could use absolute change to show the difference, which was the $600,000. You can use relative percent change, or you could just talk about it. There definitely would probably be one on the exam where I would give you 2 values to compare. And it would say using absolute change and relative percent change, knowing making sure you know the material. But on this one, you don't have to because we used it in the other. Any question? I think that's this last one.
Yeah.
Any questions on anything? Positive. Right, so I have everything graded up, it's up through Sunday, last Sunday. If you have a 0 in something, then, get it turned in. If you did turn it in, you may have an email that said I couldn't open it. There's a couple of those.
How do you spell your favorite food?
CAVATELLI.
Thank you. Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
You already turned it in.
Okay, email me a picture of what you did today. Good. You too.
So I'm working. But we're kind I try and pick up other ones.
Yeah, I'm really on my friend with festival.
But I don't like watching.
Maybe.
We can just.
It's the next set of. I'm not basically the whole.
And then, I don't know, are you free?
Yeah.
We could stop by that because I can help you with, if you're able to see. But, you know, like for this. Maybe I'll find it. Yeah, back. There's a back. Thank you. No problem. You have a good rest of your day too. Yeah.
Ready?
Okay.
Oh, where do you find some time to start?
No, that's fine.
Sorry. Not getting.
Thank you.
That's monthly too.
Nothing with it.
It's like.
For what?
They do. They do something. My also.
But yeah, email me, the video is there.
Next time I will stay again.
Like I looked at.
See, no, do one. Using the option. So, fix that.
Yeah.
You're using your arm. That's
Bless you.
Let's do.
Good job.
I think.